All right, maybe the last video, hopefully the last video. We'll see if we can get through all of this in one. Alright, so we have this picture that we are going to just be kind of looking at all these different relationships. So starting with adjacent angles, that just means any two angles that are next to each other. So adjacent just means next to. So we could use these two angles, these two angles, these two angles, these two angles, or these two angles. So anything that's just next to each other. So I'm just going to pick TXY and YXA. Vertical angles are across from each other, and they have to come from the same two lines. So for an example, this one with a 50 in it and this one are not vertical angles because this part and this part are not the same line. And so the vertical angles are made from only two intersecting lines. So for, as an example, GXT and EXA. So here's a line and here's a line. So those are the vertical angles. GXT, AXE. Which ray is an angle bisector? So I need something that cuts it in half. Either it's going to be marked with congruent symbols like this, or it might just have the same number in it. So if both of these had a 50 in it, then this would be an angle bisector. But it would be this one because it has those letters. GXR and angle RXE. A linear pair makes a straight line. A linear pair has to be adjacent to each other. So TXG and GXE. TXE and GXE. Wait, TXR. TXG. TXG and GXE. Complementary and supplementary angles do not have to be adjacent. They can be, but they don't have to be. So complementary have to be 90 degrees, supplementary have to equal 180 degrees, but they don't have to be next to each other. So these two would be an example of complementary angles, but so would these two. So because this is 40, because those are vertical angles, then this 40 plus this 50 would be complementary angles. So I'm going to write both of those down. So angle GXT and angle YXA, or angle AXE and angle YXA. So they just have to equal 90. They don't have to be adjacent. And then for the supplementary, the same thing. I could use what I used for my linear pair, which was just to make the straight line, but I could use something that just equals 180 degrees. So I don't know if I see anything that equals 180 that's not just already in a straight line. So I'm just going to use angle TXA and angle AXE. So this bottom half, this part and this part, to make my straight line. Kind of glary, I don't like it. Oh, okay. Moving on to number 39. You might need some separate paper for this part. I'm actually going to use some separate paper, so I will BRB. Alright, so starting with A, it's important that you know what these are saying to be able to draw them, because that's going to be the issue. So Q is in the interior of PRS. So I just have an angle, PRS, and Q's on the interior. So that's what that looks like. And then I can connect this. So basically it's this ray cuts the angle. It's just, we're not assuming that it's an angle bisector. It might be, but we're not assuming that. So angle PRQ is 6x minus 5, and QRS is 4x plus 10, and then the whole thing is 5x plus 50. So this is an example to use angle addition. So these two little angles added together equals the whole angle. And then you're just going to combine like terms. Or you can do y1, y2 to get your x equals 9. And then it says to find the measure of each angle. So you would just replace that into all of these things. And your angles will be 49 and 46. And then the whole thing is 95. And this one's the 49, 46, and 95. Okay, so that's letter A. Letter B. BD bisects ABC. So now I have ABC and BD bisects it. So ABD, which is 3x plus 32, has to equal DBC, which is 4x plus 18. So because they bisect, now we're just setting both sides equal to each other. And then either y1, y2, or solve by hand, and you would subtract this, subtract that, so x is 14, and then plug it all back in, and this is 74, and this is 74, and then the whole thing is 148. Letter C. Two complementary angles are in a ratio of 2 to 3. Find the measure of both angles. So they equal 90 degrees. This one is 2x and this one is 3x. So 2x plus 3x equals 90. X equals 18. And then this one would be 36, and this would be 54, and together that equals 90. And then letter D, supplement has to make a straight line. An angle is 3 times as big as its supplement. So I have 4x equals 180. So x is 45. So this one's 45. And this one's 135. So for these you need to know your vocabulary words, that this has to be 90 degrees and this has to be 180 degrees. And then we kind of more talked about some more ratios a little bit more, so maybe this makes more sense. If you were to set up a ratio, 2/3 equals 36/54, this is proportional. Multiplying those and multiplying those would give you the same thing, so that's, you know, something to kind of keep in mind. Moving on to number 40, you might want paper again for this part. I don't think we're going to make it through the rest in this video. I had high hopes. Actually, I'm going to get some patty paper. Alright, so ABC is 3x plus 15, and EBD is 4x. So find all four. So because these are vertical angles, they have to be equal to each other. So 3x plus 15 equals 4x. Subtract that. X equals 15. Plug it all back in. And these will both be 60. And then in order to find this, these make a linear pair. So this would have to be 120, and this would have to be 120. Letter B, EBD is negative 12x plus 13, and EBC is negative 21x plus 2. So these two make a linear pair. So they have to together equal 180. I combine like terms, and I have negative 33x plus 15 equals 180. Subtract the 15, and then divide by 33. So x equals negative 5. And then plug the negative 5 into everything, and you'll get 73 here and 107 here. And then use vertical angles for 73 and vertical angles for 107. And then we just have one more, letter C. EBA is 7x minus 19, and DBC is 4x plus 2. So because these are vertical angles, we can set them equal to each other. 3x, 21, x is 7. Plug all of those back in. And this would be 30. And this would be 30. This would be 150. And this would be 150. Remember that it's okay that like this looks like it should be the bigger number angle because it looks obtuse, and this looks acute, so it should be a smaller number. Don't worry about that. Solve. Have trust and faith in your math skills. The picture is just there so that you can reference it to get your angle relationships, such as vertical angles or a linear pair. But don't freak out about it looking weird or whatever. It's totally okay. Pictures are not drawn to scale. We can't assume sizes. Just go with it.